What's up everyone? It's Minimalist Monday in Super Auto Pets, and I don't know if you managed to catch a glimpse of what pack I am playing, but if you've seen the thumbnail you will probably know that I am going to be going for a minimalist scummy build with the Vampire Bat and the Micro. You have to forgive me for this is just my first game of customs, and I really wanted to put out a video for Minimalist Monday, so you have to forgive my scummy builds. I guess that's 3 days in a row of me running scummy builds, but whatever the case. The build is actually stupidly overpowered, but most of you probably know that. In case you don't know what the combo is that Microbe is going to apply weakness to the entire enemy team, and Vampire Bat's ability is that whenever an ailment gets applied to the enemy, it's going to deal 9 damage to it at level 3, and it's also going to gain the HP equivalent to the damage dealt. So that is with weakness 12 damage to every single enemy, and it's going to gain 60 HP, which is absolutely nuts. Of course, you're not running it for the HP gain, you're mostly interested in the damage that you get to dish out. And I'm going to tell you from now, we're going to be going for double Vampire Bat plus double Microbe. So I bothered to do the calculations, and if I'm not mistaken, that is 360 damage in total to the entire enemy team, which is absolutely nuts. So like you also counter summon builds, because unlike with like leopard stuff, you are dealing the damage in waves. You're dealing 3 waves of 120 damage each, so even if some summons spawn out, you're still able to wipe them. And this build has very few counters, if I have to be honest with you. Especially if the Vampire Bats are leveled, but if they are not, I guess Leopard Snipes at the beginning of the fight can wipe you. Also, enemy teams with Vampire Bat plus Microbe are very scary to face as well, especially if they have more attack than you, because their abilities will get to trigger first. And that's kinda scary actually, because the current meta is full of this build, and I did struggle a little bit in this run, as you will be able to see. But for now we are leveling up on turns 5 and 6, because a lot of the units that we want are tier 4, like you can see for example the Microbe that is in the level up. But I decide to take a Lobster because I want to get a head start on the starting stats of the Vampire Bat. As I said, we will be completely countered if enemy Vampire Bats have more attack than us, so it's very good for us to be able to scale them up with Lobsters. Here we face yet another broken build with a Chimera. Thankfully for them they did level into 1, and we end up losing as a result. But yeah, I think we'll be fine. We find a Cyclops, we also get a level on the Lucky Cat, and we also find a Microbe in the shop as well. So we will take our level and probably cycle out of the Lucky Cat in favor of this Microbe right here. We also level up into a Turkey, which is very good news for us, because it's going to be +3 +2 extra stats whenever we include something in the team, which is what we're going to do right here with the Microbe. The board management for this game is going to be a little bit iffy. You can see right here I've run out of space, so I have to combine a Lobster right here just to make space for the Vampire Bat. But yeah, very good setup on turn 7, 8-7 Microbe and a 7-9 Vampire Bat that will most likely trigger before any enemy units, and you can see right here the combo in action. Even with a level 1 Vampire Bat we get to deal 6 damage to the entire enemy team, and the Vampire Bat manages to get 30, I believe, extra HP from that exchange. So yeah, we are going to go for some levels on the Vampire Bat in order to increase the damage dealt and the HP gained. We are also very lucky to roll into yet another Cyclops, so that means whenever we level up we get 2 XP for free. Here I decide to unfreeze the lettuces. I was thinking about perhaps going for some because of the attack increase that is so direly needed, but I think it's just better for us to go for the levels and maybe rush for a quick victory. A little bit of spoilers, this run is going to go on for quite a while, so we did not manage to win quickly, but this build holds its own relatively late into the game, as you would expect from any build that deals 360 damage in snipes. So yeah, we're going to roll for yet another vampire bat. My initial thought was actually to have a single microp with double vampire bat because I wanted to make it even more so minimalist, but that is only 240 damage, so theoretically it does not wipe a full 50-50 team, so I didn't want to do that. I wanted double microp, double vampire bat, and here I believe we are going to get the Cyclops perhaps up to level 2, either that or the Turkey. Yep, it is the Cyclops. Cyclops level very important because it's going to give us more XP, and we need both of the vampire bats that we are about to get up to level 3 for maximum damage. Here you can see our opponent doing something very similar to ourselves, but we do have a slight bit more attack. Unfortunately it ends up being a draw, however. And yeah, such builds will become more and more common as we go into the late game because that's what everyone is currently running. But for now we are going to level up perhaps the Turkey just so we can get some extra stats on the vampire bat in the shop. Either that or we're just going to combine the vampire bats together. I don't think there's a wrong play here, like both running them separate and combining into a level 3. It's only a very small damage loss if you combine them, but I guess I want to be optimal, so I'm running them separate. Very lucky shop roll right here with double oyster, a mushroom for the microbe as well as a chocolate for the vampire bat. They do us a favor right here, leveling up our entire team, which ends up being a grave mistake on their side because we completely wiped them. And yeah, this is the future of this build. We're only going to get stronger from here, especially with the mushroom, which is basically going to double our damage output right now. I had frozen a turkey to make it up to level 3, but I don't think that was worth it. Instead, we're just going to invest a little bit in the vampire bats. And we're 2 chocolates away from double level 3 vampire bats, so that is very scary for any opponent. And you can see right here, we just easily end up destroying them even if they have massive stats plus a behemoth. So yeah, all that we need now is some levels, and thankfully we do find double crow, so we do get the levels that we desired. And the last thing that we're going to need is a microbe. You could also be running some perk foods like this pie right here in the shop, but I think that's just a luxury. Instead I decide to take an eagle because maybe our opponent is running vampire bat as well, and that's pretty scary. You can see on the opponent team is a Nurikabe, which a lot of people have made videos on. Its ability is that it takes less damage 3 times per turn, which unfortunately for them when we have a 1-up microbe it is not enough. We find even more vampire bats in the shop, but I think 2 is good enough for us to win, so we're just going to focus on a second microbe. I had frozen a mushroom there for a little bit, but the first microbe is going to wipe all equipment that we have, so it's not really a good idea to have a second mushroom. Here I was thinking for a second about the third vampire bat, but as I said before, we want a microbe instead. Pie, not too horrible because it triggers at the start of battle, and it's going to give us some much needed attack to maybe trigger before the enemy. But yeah, the shop is being a little bit uncooperative right now. As you can see, they're not giving me the microbe. I don't think it's desperately needed, but thankfully we do find it at the very end of the turn, so we can include it first thing next turn. And we can even start thinking about selling the Cyclops because it has done its job. Here we get almost wipe initially at the start of battle with the leopard on the enemy team, but the single surviving vampire bat was strong enough to just wipe out the entire enemy and claim the victory for us. So yeah, the team is basically set up. I don't need any extra levels on the microbe. I guess I'm going to go for a Stinky Sock right here just because it's some HP reduction, which is going to help out especially with opponent behemoths that are up to HP in the 70s, in the 80s maybe. I was thinking for a second going for a full house build perhaps with triple microbe, double vampire bat, but that's not a minimalist build anymore, so I just decided to abstain. And you can see here the beauty of this build, that it's dealing its damage in waves, and it ends up helping us clear the behemoth, or not the behemoth, the chimera spawns out of that. Multiple 50 HP units, but we managed to clear them easily. And yeah, we are nearing the final turn. We are at 9 wins, but I don't believe we're winning this next fight. Instead, we're just going to hoping to improve the team a little bit. Like Pancake, I believe, is in this pack. Mana potions are still in the shop, which if I'm desperate enough, I might buy. Also, we have the eggplant, which is not too horrible. But yeah, let's click end turn and see what is going to happen. It turns out the enemy has a vampire bat with 28 attacks, so they end up dealing their damage first and we end up losing because of that. Very unfortunate, but we still have 2 hearts remaining and this is going to be the final turn. We're going to refresh the toy, get some extra stats from the zebra. Thankfully it lands on the perfect units and this is going to be it. I really hope you enjoyed this build, even though it was kinda scummy. I did have a lot of fun running this. So if you did enjoy, I hope that you like, sub, do all the generic stuff, and I will talk to you next time. Take care.